Howdy, I'm Jason Marino, and today I want to talk with you about silence. Now, silence is a very elusive thing. We oftentimes think of it as just quiet time. I just need to be quiet. And therefore, at that point, I can find rest. Now, that in and of itself is already tricky. We have very busy lives, especially in Western society, where we pride ourselves in this concept of just how much we can get done and how productive we can be. And the thing about silence is that silence does not seem productive. It does not seem like something that gets us what we want. We don't make money with silence. We don't build large muscles with silence. We don't end up getting people's attention with silence. Silence is something that we oftentimes see as the opposite of productivity. It is a time where we're trying to be unproductive. But you see, in that unproductivity, so to speak, that is actually when we find ourselves to truly discover who we are, to really grow and be able to get to the point later where we do become what we want to be, where we do grow and become productive. See, the thing about silence is that silence has these three aspects to it. Okay? One of them being contemplation, where we look at things that we didn't want to look at before. The second one being a time of prayer or communication with the divine. And so while different people have different ideas of what that means, having something where they speak to the higher authority that they discover, and for Christians, that being the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and being Christ himself in the Spirit with us, this would be the opportunity to be able to connect in prayer. And then to have a time of rest. So a time where it's not worrying about what did I think about or did I talk to God enough or anything like that, but rather is looking at the concept of what is it just to relax and to just be and not worry about anything, because I am in the presence of God and I know that I am welcomed. Now, with each of these aspects, we discover a different thing that we oftentimes are afraid of. When we think of the contemplation, we oftentimes want to avoid the contemplation of silence because there are things we just don't want to think about. Sometimes the scars of our past, sometimes the mistakes that we have made even recently, or even the things that have yet to come that we're dreading, that we just don't want to think about. We don't like contemplation, and it's something that we try to avoid. But without it, we can't consider our options well, and we can't make good decisions. Prayer is oftentimes a thing where whenever we're trying to talk with God, that we don't really want to speak out, because the thing is that we sometimes think, God doesn't hear me, it doesn't really matter, and it's just a waste of time. And it's almost like if I try to pray, what is it that I'm going to say, and what is it that I'm afraid of having to talk about? What is it I'm afraid of God seeing? And even more than that is whenever we think about rest, we don't want to rest. We don't think about rest as being important, because the thing is that we've associated it with laziness. But without the opportunity just to say, it is okay for me to just be me, and to know that I am welcomed and loved and embraced, then how can we ever truly feel safe to go out and to try new things and to go into the unknown? So the question is, how can we truly find silence in our lives and allow it to do what it needs to do in us?